Everywhere, GBS.
The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello everyone, welcome to GBS TV. On this TV, there is Chungu cha Jamii. This is a station that talks about family matters, talk about divorce, separation, parenting, and everything that we could find in the family. My name is Betty Akuku. I am your host today, and we are going to be discussing a really important topic that I know everyone would like to listen to, and this is none other than why do women and men cheat in the relationships? I am joined by a guest somewhere within Nairobi, and he's going to be talking to us about this. And at this time, I would like to welcome him to introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amos Alumada Kea. Some people call me Mwalimu. I teach at Pan-Africa Christian University in the psychology department, and I'm a marriage and family therapist. I'm married to Susan, and we have 2 sons and a granddaughter who is about 6 months old now.
Wow. Congratulations, Mwalimu Amos, for joining us today to help us with this kind of discussion. I will go straight away to what this is. You know, people get married, Amos, and they're so happy, and they make vows to each other, promising that they will live happily ever after. And they have all the time to choose who their spouse is going to be. I have not heard of someone who was forced into marriage. So when they have chosen and taken their time to choose who their spouse will be, they walk down the aisle and say, for better and for worse, and I will love you to the moon, I will love you to my death. But what happens that now the man is cheating on the woman that he chose, and the woman is cheating on the man that he loves? What happens, Mr. Amos?
Well, to begin with, I want to say there are people who are forced into marriage by circumstances.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe they were in a relationship and they never anticipated that along the way, maybe a baby will come. And so here comes a baby, and they're forced just to come together because of a baby, not because they wanted to come together. Others, traditionally, when you go past a certain age, everybody gets concerned. You know, the dominant discourse is that at certain time of the during your lifespan, you should be married. You should be a family person.
Yes.
And so, due to peer pressure, some people can just succumb to pressure to get married, not because they are ready emotionally. They could be ready physically. By age, in quotes. But emotionally, maybe they're not ready. They're not ready spiritually, but because of peer pressure and because everybody else is married, they conform to the pattern and the status quo of the time. And so with the time, you begin to realize that as people go through transitions, every transition that people go through requires a drastic change. A change in how you look at one another. A lot of adjustments are needed. And people who are not ready to change with the time end up succumbing to temptations here and there. And you realize that a marriage that was made in heaven, in quotes, end up struggling with many issues. Unforeseen. Some of them are premeditated. Others happen by chance, etc.
So when people are forced by such circumstances, some people also listening to you probably want a lot of money and a lot of wealth. So maybe they do not even love this man or woman, but because of this favorable circumstance, then they succumb to this. And so I get you very well. There are those that are actually pulled into it by circumstances, as you put it. But let's talk about those that are in the marriage. Their marriages were made in heaven, as you put it. They have loved each other. I don't know whether love fades or what happens to love, that it just disappears and it is replaced by now things like cheating and hatred. What happens that a man would leave his matrimonial bed and just walk out of this place and is comfortable or uncomfortable? What would happen to such kind of a man?
Or what will happen to such a kind of a woman who will walk out of her matrimonial bed and just gets engaged
Yes.
in extramarital affairs?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you mentioned the word love. As I was thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
Do people get married because they're in love, or people get married because of circumstances? Yes, those that are in love. Let's talk about those that are married because of love.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And want to find out what the definition of love. Okay? Is love defined based on what one does for the other? Is it defined by the time they spend together? You know the 5 language of love?
Yeah.
The time spent to the tasks that one does for the other, the services that one offers to the other, tokens, the gifts that one offers to the other,
Yeah.
and touching, of course. Yeah? So I like using 5 T's: task, tokens, task, that is for the services that one provides to the other, tokens, that's the gifts that one buys for the other,
Yes.
time, the time people spend together,
Yes.
and even touching, yeah? And then talking, that's the conversation, the quality time that people spend together.
Yes.
So let's just assume that they got married because of love.
Yes.
That comprises of the 5 aspects.
Okay.
And that the 5 aspects are in place. So what happens along the way?
Exactly.
For want to cheat. We need to first of all begin by defining what cheating is.
Okay.
And I want to begin, when you talk about cheating, you're talking about infidelity.
Exactly.
Is that what you're referring
Yes,
to? Yes,
exactly.
So infidelity, you would be surprised to realize that infidelity doesn't have any one definition, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So many researchers define infidelity in different ways, but there are 3 different ways that most researchers agree.
Okay.
Number 1 is infidelity is defined as sexual intercourse.
Okay.
Sexual intercourse, where that is the physical. I don't know, I don't know who is watching, whether I need just to say the way it is. Yeah. I don't know whether kids are here or not, but if it was in my class, I would really say what it is.
Yes.
Yeah? But anyway, in research, we call it the penis vagina penetration. Okay? That is a sexual intercourse.
Yes.
It can also involve masturbating in another person's presence. It can also mean touching someone's erogenous zones. By erogenous zones, I mean parts of the body that are sexually, that respond to sex easily.
Yes.
That is sexual intercourse.
Okay.
And then other researchers define infidelity as emotional infidelity or emotional connectedness.
True.
And this one involves like falling in love, thinking so much about the other person, flirting with somebody else who is not your primary partner. It also means like the text messages that people write to one another, etc. Yeah. And then there is another one that is called extradyadic affairs.
Okay.
And in extradyadic affairs, we are referring to like going out with somebody on a date. having a random lunch date. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, and so there are so many ways that I've just summarized, but there are so many other activities that are involved in any of the three broad categories that is defined infidelity. So when we talk about infidelity or cheating, we want to find out, Betty might have found her husband. I'm just giving you an example of another Betty. Maybe talking to someone, or really on phone talking to this person passionately, and in flirting. You know, that is cheating.
Okay.
Okay. Or just walking into a restaurant, Java, and you find somebody whom you don't know with your husband, and they cannot explain who this person is.
Yes.
That is cheating. Yeah?
If I would just
about masturbation. Sorry.
Yes, if I would just get you on that particular point while you're still there, that even that is cheating. When you talk about infidelity and why women and men cheat, look at this. Look at it from this point. You know, these people have already gotten off kind of emotionally or physically to another partner that is not their primary partner or their spouse. Let's look at how does this begin, because you are married, you have gone for your honeymoon, you are living together, happily together. Do you just wake up one morning and say, today I'm going to cheat on this guy, today I'm going to cheat on this woman? What is the primary beginning of this? Where exactly, what is the genesis of this infidelity, this kind of practice? Is it that somebody is naturally the one who cannot settle with a partner, or something triggers it that the only way to solve it is to also go and cheat on your spouse? Where does it start from?
There are very many reasons that may lead one to commit adultery. Very many reasons. And
yes,
you've said, like, let me pick on the last one that you said, because he cheated, I'm also going to cheat. Revenge. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, which does not even solve the problem. But where does it start? You know, like the Bible says, when you are tempted, don't say God is tempting me, because we are tempted when we are led aside or astray by our own evil desires.
Yes.
Okay. And these evil desires may not just start in a day.
No.
You may not just wake up one day and say, I'm going to cheat. No. By the way, people just don't wake up and say they're going to cheat on their spouses.
Exactly. I thought so.
It's something that grows progressively. Like falling in love, emotional infidelity. You are in a relationship with your spouse and you are not close to one another. You are avoidantly attached or anxiously attached to one another. And by avoidantly attached, I mean,
yes.
Here you are in a relationship, you're like, I wish you knew who I am. So you tend to avoid one another, lest they get to know you, what you're thinking about, what you're doing outside there, behind their back, etc. And you, because you're so suspicious of yourself, you fear having this intimate relationship with your significant other.
Yeah.
And so these are individuals who are, avoidantly attached. Yes, they are in a relationship, but that relationship is defined by avoidance. And then there are those who are anxiously attached. They want to hang around you, cling on you. Do you love me? Prove that you love me. Where are you? I was expecting you to be here by 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Whom are you with? Whom have you? So these are people who are constantly searching to find out whether the other one is cheating or not, anxiously attached.
Is it because, isn't it because of maybe some past experiences? Because if you have not caught your spouse or you have not heard what goes around in the marriage, you know, there are people who are busy finding out to check, if he does this, then he doesn't love me. There are people who are also misadvisors outside there. They come and tell you things that these are the things men do, these are the things that women do. And so because of this, you also get the fear inside of you, and you want to search and find out, is if my husband is doing this, if my wife is doing this, then they are cheating. So you start following up on them. What really makes you begin to be the one who is constantly, you know, calling and finding out, where are you, what are you doing, you should have been here? What is that is making you do that?
We say hurt people hurt others.
Okay.
Hurt people hurt others. Probably there is some unfinished business in your family of origin. You probably went through trauma. You probably you have experienced rejection in the past, maybe from a significant other. You were in love with this person, and then they just bolted out of their relationship. And so you've not healed from this. Chances are you begin to scan around in your subsequent relationship or relationships, just to want to find out, is he cheating or is she cheating? I want to be so careful this time so that I'm caught off guard. And so these are the people who end up scanning around. They're so busy trying to look for reasons to nail their partner, or just to, they're doing so for a good reason. They want to be safe. They want to be sure that they're
so insecure. They're so insecure.
However, the relationship is so insecure.
Yes.
They are so insecure to the extent that they feel they, by scanning around and trying to find out what this other person is doing, they will be gaining security in the relation. But by the way, as they do so, they are pushing their partner away from them. Because if you discovered that you are being supervised, you are being monitored, spied on everywhere, chances are people begin they become defensive. And they become defensive by being avoidant. You see, here is somebody who is anxiously attached to an avoidantly attached person. And so you can see both of them are struggling with the insecurities that are genuine at that given moment, given their circumstances. And so there is a lot of suspicion. And the more people begin to suspect one another, the more they begin probably unconsciously to invest their emotions elsewhere. Maybe in the office, in the neighborhood, in the old friends, in the circle of friends that they have. And so you begin to realize that people who were happily married, people whom you never ever suspected will have infidelity, they end up having infidelity. In fact, just sharing your personal struggles with somebody else about your wife or your husband, with somebody else who's not your husband, it is also treated as infidelity. Because you are sharing your personal personal abuse, personal heartache with somebody else. That's infidelity.
That is cheating. I like the way you have said that even that is cheating, because when you do that, you're definitely opening a door to have emotional feelings, which for me, if you would ask me, I think that emotional infidelity is even worse than getting physical, because if you got physical, it could be for just a one-time hit and run thing, but you're not emotionally attached. But when you get emotional, even without physically getting involved, eventually that is where you're heading. Let's look at almost these people who, they are doing well. They have no previous heartaches. They have not carried baggage into their new relationship. And so they have issues, you know, when they have a small disagreement, when they have an argument, how do they just decide all of a sudden to cheat without any kind of fear, without feeling for the other spouse, and even thinking deeply of what is going to happen to this relationship in the future? How do they just begin to cheat? Is it that they are not satisfied with something? Is it that something is not working out? Are they even had any kinds of conversations? What happens that this becomes the only resolution?
We always say relationships or marriages die not because of fire, the fire that somebody is looking for outside there, the passion they're looking for, but because of ice, the icy relationship that they have. in the relationship. That is what kills marriages. It's not the passion they're looking for outside there.
Yes. What
And
is
so,
it?
you've rightly put it. Women find it very hard to forgive when it comes to emotional infidelity, according to research.
Okay.
On the other hand, men find it hard to forgive their partners for suspecting them. I mean, if they have suspected that their partners have betrayed them using the physical intercourse.
Yes.
So those are the differences. But emotional infidelity is really very, very, very difficult to heal, even as a counselor, working with the people who are struggling with that. And you rightly put it, that the physical could just be one time, and then even this person may not even remember this person.
Yes.
Yeah? It was just one time, and they went their own way. But emotional infidelity is an investment. Yeah. So how does this happen?
Yeah.
I want to look at it from this perspective.
Okay.
Three ways. There is a researcher called Gottman who's done a lot of research and talks about marriages, and he says that love maps, building love maps, knowing your spouse psychological inner world very, very well, updating each other on what is happening in your life is key. Knowing, for instance, what's your husband's waist size, yeah, the size of the shoe, the shirt, the size. That is what we call love maps. You update each other. You get to know one another. The stresses they are going through right now. If somebody had $1 million shillings right now, and he or she is your spouse, what is this person likely going to spend this money on? That means that you know one another very, very well. You use the open-ended questions, what is happening in your life. You want to know. And then we have the fondness and admiration.
Okay.
Fondness and admiration. What are some of the things that attract you to your spouse? Okay? And validating and appreciating them for those very small things, the minute things that people will take for granted. Oh, I like your hairstyle, I like your shirt, I like your whatever. Oh, today, wow, you smell so good. I like the perfume you are wearing. It is just appreciating one another, showing fondness and admiration to one another, not really flattering them, not being a people pleaser, but doing it genuinely.
Yes.
Yeah, you are being congruent. What you are saying, you really mean it. And then there's this other one that we call turning towards. Number 3, turning towards.
Okay.
Turning towards every day builds for connection. You woke up in the morning, I don't know, sometimes and many times, and this is the mistake that most of us couples do, because I slept with my wife in the same bed. I wake up in the morning, I can't even ask her good morning, yeah, but I'm going to ask my neighbor good morning. I assume that because we slept in the same bed, we woke up together, she doesn't deserve that good morning, that how was your night, but I'm going to ask somebody else, you see, but who am I supposed to be asking first? Is it my spouse or somebody else outside there? So when there is love maps, fondness and admiration, and turning towards, this beats for connection. You know when I say good morning, I'm asking for a connection. It's not just you are telling me good morning and that's the end. No, I'm trying to connect with you, physically, emotionally, and every other way. How was your day? Oh, my day was good. It's not that I just want to know how your day was, but I want to connect with you. Because it is, how was your day? I want to know how the day impacted you as a person. Yeah?
Yes.
And so, and these are very, very key things that build a relationship.
True, I agree with you. Amos, when people talk about infidelity, broadly, what comes into the mind of the people is intimate cheating, or rather sleeping with somebody else that is not your spouse. And this is the general perspective, this is the general definition of infidelity. When you hear that someone has committed adultery, obviously that is what it is. And I want to get it so clearly at this point. Men, people say that men cheat because they don't get intimacy at home. And I'm like, is this possible? 365 days in a year. What kind of man can actually do this 7 days in a week, 24 hours in a day, just fondling with his wife? How possible is this? Why would lack of this make you cheat on your wife if this is a fundamental reason why men cheat?
I just go back to what I said. Love maps. Do you know each other very, very well? Do you update one another on what is going on in my life as a husband? Do I want, volunteering information, being curious to find out what is happening in the other person, and as Christians, praying together as a spouse, or I mean, as a couple. I mean, that togetherness is what people lack in the relationship.
Almost there are people who say, there are people who say they have done everything for this man. They do literally everything. They would even lick their shoes instead of brushing them. You would come in and they remove your coat, they serve you the best. They would do literally all the best that you would think a wife would do to the husband. But they still find, and they're not satisfied with something still. And the basis of men cheating, society has it that they lack the sex at home, And I'm just wondering, like I asked you, is this something you can do 365 days in a year?
Betty, people don't cheat because of sex.
Okay.
Not the sexual intercourse that lead people to cheat.
Yes, please tell us, why do they cheat?
In fact, it's not you just say, it is the emotional disconnection, lack of. Some people cheat, and majority of men cheat, not because their wives are not doing all that you are doing.
Yes.
It could be an angel from heaven that you married, doing everything for you.
Yes.
And they are there, they support, but this man still cheat.
Why?
Cheat.
Yes, why?
Now,
why?
we want to find out, is this man addicted to sex?
Okay.
It could just be an addiction that the person has. It
And
could
if it
just
is an
be
addiction,
that this man is struggling with low
low self-esteem. So if it is an addiction, can he do this 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week?
It's not possible. It's not possible.
Yes,
even
of course.
Even the machines wear out. There is wear and tear. There is no way. And by the way, I don't know why people think that when somebody cheats, they cheat 24/7. Somebody may have just cheated once in a year, but that has ruptured the relationship.
Yes.
It is called attachment injury, and it's very, very traumatic. And the wife or the husband may not even find room to forgive, because it's a betrayal.
Yes.
I gave myself totally to you. I trusted you. Why would you cheat on me? I've done everything I need to do. I've not let you down. I've been there, I've supported you and everything. Why? And you see, this person begins to struggle with the trauma.
Yes, yes.
And this trauma, unless they go for counseling and they see somebody like a pastor pray for or whatever it is, it will be carried along the year as if it happened yesterday. When they talk about it, it looks like it just happened yesterday, because you are still hurting.
Yes.
Yes, let me not run away from the question you asked. Why do people, is it 24/7? Yes, there are people, cheating maybe could be their calling. And see, I don't know, they find a lot of fun in doing it. It's like narcissistic kind of person, somebody who is so mean, selfish, they care less about one another. And so, because of the compulsive nature of the emotions, some of them may do it without really planning, because it's a compulsive behavior, and they become obsessed with that. And so, like somebody who does shoplifting, gambling, there are those who just do it because of that. And as such a person, they need to see a counselor. They need to go an extra mile and seek help. And so, if somebody who is married to such a person, definitely they are going to suffer a lot. And I will empathize with such a person and request that one who is married to such a person, she needs to seek help, or he needs to seek help, because not just men alone, but women who are also addicted to sex. It can be, by the way, this addiction may not necessarily be the physical. It can be pornography, because that's also cheating. Somebody who's addicted to pornography, you find your husband, your spouse watching pornography, that is a betrayal. Because whom are they watching? They're watching other people, and maybe pornography goes with the masturbation. When they watch pornography, they go and masturbate, and so they have no need of the other. And so it's a complex issue when we talk about infidelity and the reasons that cause or force people to engage in this. Very complex.
You know, when somebody has got to that extent, it simply means that they are not satisfied with something. They are trying to fill a gap that is there in their homes. So you have said that it's not necessarily for sexual needs that men cheat. I know for sure that in long time ago, women were known to be their home keepers, and once they got children, then they would settle, you know, they would relax and just take care of their children. But nowadays, statistics have it, and research has it, that women cheat more than men. And this is the reason they say is that they are kind of retaliating, you know, because you were doing this, I'm going to do this. But please tell us again, what is the other reason men cheat, if not just for sexual needs, filling that gap at home?
Let me flip it the other way around. You said nowadays women who were supposed to have perceived to be homemakers, traditionally 30, 40 years ago, right now, because they're out there, they have been empowered in the job market. There is a level playing ground. They go home, the husband is so busy on the laptop, chasing this business here and there. He thinks that by providing all these resources, building homes, buying cars, etc., they will win her love. And she feels so, she feels dry in the relationship. And she goes somewhere, she finds somebody who is appreciating her, unlike the husband. Chances are she might just end up having an affair with this man who seemed to be paying attention to her, who seemed to be telling her or doing for her what the husband is not doing for her. And so you realize that she will end up cheating, not necessarily because she doesn't have a husband, but because she just doesn't feel appreciated. She just doesn't feel valued. She just doesn't feel, you know, esteemed for who she is. The same applies to men. They will cheat just because the same reasons that will cause women to cheat are the same reasons that will cause men to cheat. There are no special reasons for men or women. The reasons are for these fallen creatures, and that is who we are. And that unless we pay attention, unless we pay, even those of us who feel we are standing, the Bible wants us pay attention. Lest, yes, you think you will do what? You're standing. Pay attention that lest you fall. So we need to be constantly on guard, trying to safeguard not only our marital relationship, but even our own relationship with our own selves, above all, relationship with God, because ultimately, we not only belong to ourselves, we belong to our spouses, and we belong to God. So when we cheat, or when somebody cheats, remember there are so many systems that are broken. the vertical with God, the horizontal with the spouse, and even with oneself. Yeah. And so the implication and the impacts go beyond the individual who has committed adultery. It just goes beyond him and the spouse.
I heard you mention about men being so busy that they're only busy on their laptops and chasing their business and constructions here and there, and giving very minimal or less time to the spouse. And you say that this could be another reason even for the women to cheat as well. You know, when you have gotten married and you are working, there's a work responsibility, there's a family responsibility, and there is the accountability also that you have to give to your spouse. There's that relationship, you know. You still have your intimate life as a couple, you still have the business running, you still have the parenting to do. What makes it such that all these others are doing so well and this one is neglected, when in my opinion, this should be leading?
This is what we call work-family balance.
Okay.
If you can't balance your time at work and your time at home, then I don't know whom you are working for. If you have to spend all your time, all your energy, all your abilities, and all the gifts that God has given to you, and invest everything in what you do outside, you come home so exhausted, so spent. You know, you are so busy making money for people, for your people. But when you come home, there is no emotional connection. There is no, I mean, you are at home. Sorry, you are in the house, but you're not at home. Let me put it that way.
But Amos, you know, it has also been said and noted that people who are looking for money and working really hard, then their spouses ought to be aware and prepared, you know, that their intimate life and relationship is going to be really affected. There's something in society that everybody wants to drive the best car, everybody wants to live in the leafy suburbs, and everybody wants to be, you know, have the children in the best kinds of school. Now, unfortunately, all these things cannot happen without money. And so if you leave the woman in the slums, the woman in the slums, if you ask them, they will want to come to the suburbs. And they are not, they don't care what happens to the relationship because, like I said, this is not something that is happening on a daily basis in their homes, truth be told.
It's so tricky. Let's see, what was the responsibility given to Adam was what, till the land, eh?
Yes.
But Adam has spent so much time on the farm that he forgot that he was supposed to get back home.
Yes.
Yeah? Because when you come back to the New Testament, Paul, writing to the Ephesians, chapter 5, from verse 21, he says that, submit to one another in the Lord, and then women submit yourselves to your husbands.
Yes.
And then husbands, love your wives. Now, would you love somebody when you are so busy in Dubai?
You know, people have interpreted love to giving. If you don't give, then you don't love. And people don't just want you to come home empty, you know. Women are saying they don't just want a man who puts nothing on the table, who comes with an empty bag. I mean, they will still help you to get emotionally and intimately ready for them, but you must come home with something. So it is such a struggle for the man. There is so much pressure for the man, I guess. And so because men are putting all their energies in providing finances and providing the good cars and taking the children to the good schools, women are feeling left out. Their interpretation is, that is the man, that is your responsibility. But when you come home, I mean, your bedroom is still waiting for you. So if you are absent, men, I'm going to look for it outside.
And you know what, Bet, you are right. look at the rates and the statistics of couples who engage in infidelity. These are the working population.
Yes.
Most of the people who are the newlyweds all the way to maybe year 20 in your marriage. This is the time people are very busy trying to make money, having children, and now your son or your daughter is 20 years, they have gone to high school, etc. That's the time that people begin to settle down. And you've been so busy investing, busy working here and there, and you come back home, you realize that, oh my God, while you were away, your wife became so busy with the other things, emotionally busy. You were working for them.
Yes.
You are working for them. And I don't know who even gave you that responsibility that you should be the one working for them.
God gave you.
Okay, God gave, eh?
Yes.
but the very God who gave, gave responsibly. There are responsibility, there is accountability, and the very God who gave said that love your wife. And by loving your wife, it means loving her to the extent that just like Christ loved the church and died for us, loving her to the extent that you're willing to do anything possible to make sure that she becomes the very best. And by the very best does not mean buying her the very best car or building a house for her in Runda. That does not mean, that's not what it means. Just that experiencing that sense of connectedness, that sense of oneness, working together. Amos says, can two work together unless they be agreed? Working together as a spouse, manifesting that oneness in the relationship, being on the same level, not leaving one another out. And I believe if all of us were to go back and reflect on what marriage was intended for, we will not go wrong, because it is just the expectations. But I look at expectations, I always do, when I work with the couples, I look at expectations in 3 different ways. What does Betty expect from her husband? What does Betty think her husband expects from her? And what does Betty expect from herself as a wife? And the same thing, what does your husband expect from you? What does he think you are expecting from him? And what does he expect from himself? And so when we address these issues, the issue of expectations, and our expectations are very, very clear before marriage and along the way in the course of marriage, updating one another. As far as our expectations are concerned, we will know, okay, what do I expect as far as my sexual needs are concerned? What do I expect as far as our finances are concerned? Where do we hope to retire to? What kind of a car do we want? So we know each other's expectations, and we are updating one another daily. I believe we are likely to minimize, I'm saying minimize, not really do away, minimize some of these problems that people experience.
True,
because
Amos.
As long as we are,
it's very possible to minimize, as you are putting it, and to some extent even do away. If people take this seriously, they can actually do away. I know that not all families or not all couples are cheating on each other. Not all spouses are cheating. But Amos, something is very confusing and very tricky. If you allow me, I've seen something many times in the social media where you find people ask, you know, like if you were given a man or a spouse loaded financially, and the one that doesn't give it doesn't have an A+ game when it comes to intimacy. You know, what would you choose? And a lot of people say they will choose a financially loaded guy. What do you think about that statement?
So these are caretakers and not caregivers. A woman who's a caretaker, they are very, very careful to take and not give, you know? So we want to find out, why would one just be a parasite, wait, just sit there, wait to be given. You see, I had a class the other day and I was like, when do you feel loved the most? When you are nurturing, when you give. And like even the Bible says, the blessing to give than to do what? To receive. And so these people are seated there waiting for this money bag full of money loaded. I think they're suckers in a way. And I want to believe something has gone wrong somewhere. Our priorities have gone wrong somewhere. No wonder their men cheat on them. Because if your goal is to sit and wait for this man the man will be exhausted.
You know, the men don't even have time. Amos, those men don't have time. These men, all the time they have, they are putting it in investing, they're putting it in buying the nice cars and building the good homes. This is all the time that they have. So they don't have time to think about, they don't even see those women except maybe on the traffic jam once in a while. They are so busy, you know. But if you ask their wives, unfortunately that is a feedback. We would rather he brings the money, because when you are told to choose as a woman, you're not going to be having sex with this man every hour that is here or every day that is here. So you'd rather he's out looking for the money because you want to have a luxurious home. You want to have a posh car. You want to have everything good. You know, society has made it such that people only like the things that they can see. But sex is a private thing, you know. Whether it is going on well or not, it is you who knows. But what do we like to show? What everybody else wants to see? Because that's what society, that's how society judges us. So if you ask women, a lot of them or some of them say, we would rather the man who comes loaded. And you were saying that these women are caretakers and not caregivers.
So my question here is, I hope you are not talking about born again, spirit-filled women.
You know, marriage is not for only believers and born agains. Marriage is for everyone. Yes.
I know. But I'm just thinking,
yes.
Which pattern do you want to conform to? Do you want to conform to the pattern of of your neighbor, or do you want to craft your own pattern, your own relationship, your own way of defining success, as opposed to having to fit into other people's definition of success? In any case, I always ask couples, do you want to be right? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be loved?
Okay.
What is important? Do you want to be right, or do you want to be loved?
Okay.
Now, being right might be a very tricky thing if your struggle is to be right. I want to be right because my neighbor says this, my neighbor has this, what and what. You know, it becomes a struggle.
Yes.
But seeking to be loved, and I'm talking about being loved in spite of, will go a long way. That sacrificial love, the selflessness. You know, you can write the word selfless in two different ways. Selfless as one word, or self and then hyphen less. So I would like a relationship where the partners are giving themselves to each other selflessly, and not one having to feel selfless. So go on to work because I feel selfless. I feel I have not been you've not satisfied me. I feel I don't have this poshka. I feel I don't have this. So go and work so that I can feel fulfilled, in our relationship. And then the other thing you said, that some men don't have time. The truth of the matter, Betty, is that it's not that none of us, there's nobody who doesn't have time. We all have time.
Wow. Okay.
I just want to correct that.
That's good. That's good. Time. Very good.
It is just that our priorities are wrong within the time that we have. There is nothing like time management. Okay. I hear people talking about let's go to this seminar, time management. You can't manage time. 24 hours, 24 hours. We started our conversation at 9 o'clock. 55 minutes have already gone.
Yes, you are winding up the show.
Yeah, it will depend on how we have managed this. So
Yes.
these men have time. It's just that their priorities are wrong.
Wow.
And why are they wrong? Because they have been pressurized by their spouses. Yeah.
I like that, Amos, that it's not that they never have time. It is a lie. It is just, they're just hiding behind something. When they say they don't have time, they're busy. They can actually make time. The problem is their priorities are misplaced. I get you.
Wrong.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Amos,
So,
I would like to hear, as you say what you're saying, that you speak to us your last words, because we are running out of time. As you have already looked on your clock, we are running out of time. I need to hear from you, and same to my viewer as well. What would be your last words on this topic of today? Why do men and women cheat?
Okay. I will want to encourage every couple outside there, not even to fear cheating or what, but to fear loving one another. And what do I mean here? To fear that I'm not loving her enough. To fear that I don't love him enough. Instead of being preoccupied with this fear that are they cheating on me or what and what, you know? Finding an opportunity to be a blessing to one another. Finding an opportunity to lift up one another, to be an encouragement to one another. To support one another, to work with one another an extra mile, not to work for one another like the husbands that you've talked about, but to work with, not to work for. And to work with, and not that within process, the oneness.
Yes.
That will be it is going to cushion us from many catastrophes in our relationships. When we just take an opportunity, a chance to want to find out, how was your day? How are you doing? Praying together.
Yeah.
Just remember the three things: the fondness and admiration, and turning towards, as opposed to turning against or turning away from, but turning towards.
Yeah.
So can we find an opportunity where we can turn towards one another and not turn away from or turn against? Yeah. That way, couples will learn to walk an extra mile. And by the way, Bet, as I wind up, I always want to find out, GBS has a mission and a vision. I always want to find out from every couple, what is your mission as a couple?
Yeah.
Have you written it down? What is your vision as a couple? People get in marriage without a vision, yet the Bible says, my people perish for lack of vision.
Yes.
People perish for lack of vision. If vision is commitment and oneness in marriage, in spite of, and poverty, in riches and what, yeah, those are vows we made, yes. And can you update your vision every now and then? Whether it is after every 5 years, sit down and ask yourself, so how well are we doing as far as our vision is concerned? If there are areas where you need to improve on. So write your vision outside there as a couple.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Mwalimu Amos. You have really taught us. And I hope that the spouses who have been watching and tuned into this program today have actually taken away a lot of things home that they're going to work on. They're going to start with writing their mission and vision and follow it up. And also, they have actually realized, especially the men who say they're busy, it's true, it's just their priorities that are misplaced, but there is time. Everyone has 24 hours in a day to manage and to work with. Thank you so much, Amos, for joining us and teaching us all that stuff that we needed to know. You have actually saved a big percentage of our society, the marriages in our society today. Thank you so much. Thank you also, viewer, for tuning in. I also really appreciate that you were able to give us feedback. We always get back to you. It has been such a lovely time, and I have been your host. My name is Betty Akuku. See you next time.